Hello everybody and welcome back to Minecraft, where today I have some unfortunate news. First off, this build is completely done, and buttons still suck, but that build has changed a bit, and so has this area. So, Chase, what the heck happened? Well, I started building this in a time lapse, and we also have perpetually burning chicken. Spiders falling from the ceiling. So yeah, we have this place basically completely built, and it looks phenomenal. And we're gonna have a giant storage room in here whenever I get around to it. However, where's the footage of that? Deleted. 100% deleted. I was recording an episode saying, hey, I want to work on a redstone project this episode. Let's work on that. Then I got distracted working on this. Then I got distracted working on that. Then I got distracted going on a wild goose chase for spruce wood, which I've gone all over the server for, even though it grows right over there. I'm an idiot. And after doing all of that for basically an entire episode worth of footage and a stream that is no longer going up on anywhere, yeah, I decided to just completely scrap that video and say, you know what, full reset. We're doing redstone this episode. And I finally decided on the redstone project that I want to work on that isn't the staircase. Now, if I build the staircase, I'll be satisfied with this update because it does involve the comparator. However, there is another option. There is something that's been added that I'll talk about later that I am going to explain to you right now when we go to the redstone testing world. See you there. So here we are in the redstone testing world where I am going to attempt to build a redstone game because redstone is the thing that I like using the most. And as you can clearly see, I have myself a couple of methods here. And here's the thing. I have learned a lot in the past couple of days. I have been learning how to improve my redstone skills. And if I'm being honest, I fucking hate the fact that I can't just get rid of the goddamn weather with just deleting the cycle. Anyway, this is how much I've learned about redstone in the past couple of years. If I just do this, never mind, you can't do that yet. I was literally about to say, well, I can just use glass to fucking move my redstone down a bit. And it turns out, yes you can. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that yet. And it won't work like that probably for a while, which is actually so fucking annoying. Because now I look like a fucking idiot. But there we go. As you can clearly see, I know redstone, and even though I'm constantly learning new things about redstone, like double piston extenders, triple piston extenders, and furthermore, binary with double negatives, which does nothing, we have XLR gates, I'm pretty sure is what that is, we have AND gates, and then we have OR gates, and then we also have displays, we have contraptions, then we have sorting systems, bigger sorting systems, minecart sorting systems, and then of course, secret passageways that involve double piston extenders. I know a shit load of redstone capabilities, I just don't know how to apply them in specific ways. Basically, the best way I can explain this to you guys is I can take this circuit here, the T flip-flop from the old version because the best version we have in this current version, and then take that and apply it to a system that requires on and off power. Then I can apply this one tick circuit here and apply this other circuit here to activate the one tick circuit to a double piston extender because I know how block power works. Basically, I know some fundamentals on how redstone works, I just don't know how technical redstone works. So if you were to ask me how to make a bit in Minecraft, I would not know how to tell you because I have no idea how that shit works. If you wanted me to tell you how to... Why is that on? The heck? I can't even access it. What the fuck? What happened there? Can I access you? I can. Interesting. Anyway, I know how minecarts work because I, use minecarts a lot. Look at this. I have a hopper minecart here that goes down this way and stops and then empties and then goes back the way it came. This one goes, empties chest, and then goes on its merry way so that way it can connect to this. This is a simple, transparent, no power, turn on, turn off system, but send signal out. Like, I know a little bit about redstone. And even though you can say, oh, this is a little bit to you, you know how to make smart pistons. Well, Mumbo made a video on how to make smart pistons and a bunch of other redstone things that are very easy to replicate in Minecraft. So look, I wanted to make a redstone project for Minecraft 1.5 on the current server version. Because here's the thing. On the server, every version, we have a set amount of things that we can do in order to move on to the next version. We all have to be satisfied with what we've done. Now, I wanted to make a redstone project. Now, after experimenting a whole bunch and figuring out how to turn on a light with a button, even though that's already what it does, I decided to make Connect 4. Because honestly, what else am I going to do? Like, here's the thing. Originally, I was going to make this staircase, and then I decided to record an entire video based on that, but I decided to delete that video because it sucked. So, we're going to focus on redstone this episode, and we're going to just do Connect 4. Now, in order to build Connect 4, we need a lot of different circuits. Now, in order to make Connect 4, we need a shit ton of circuits, because we need to make 3 different things. First things first, we need to make the board itself. So let's get that going. Alright then, here we have the board. Now, how are we going to make this work? Well, the answer is easy. We just remove this entire layer, and then we'll use light gray wool as our building block, to where we'll put all these extra pieces. So we're going to separate the light gray wool from the circuits, because this is building material. So there we go. We have ourselves 2 different rows here, so that way we can have sand and gravel, which at the moment are the only blocks that are affected by gravity. And there we go. Here's our material. We somehow need to build a circuit that when we push a button down here... Alright, here's what we need to do. First things first, we need to make a system that pushes both of the gravity blocks into the section depending on whose turn it is, but that'll be up to the players, obviously. And then we also need a system to hold these things in place. When the game is over, remove these blocks so that way they fall onto onto torches or whatever that'll break them, and then send them into a sorting system so that way they can be sorted out and put into the individual chests, so that way they can manually be placed back up here. Because obviously there's no way to automatically place blocks back, unfortunately. That shit hasn't even arrived yet. But yeah, that's basically all we need to do. And later down the line, we can incorporate copper golems into it instead of the sorting system. But these are 3 different circuits. We need a collection system, we need a block removal system, and then we need the pushing system on both sides, so that way we have ourselves simple shit. Now here's the thing. If we were to put all of these buttons right next to each other, it wouldn't really work, because they would be blocking up the entire thing. And even if we put them like this, they would still be blocking each other because of how it works. So, we can't use vertical so that way we can get up there, so we might need to use subtract. So how do we figure this out? Well, let's start with the block removal system and then work our way up, quite literally. So first things first, we have to do a bit of testing. What can break a block that's falling due to gravity? So first test is with a slab. It does break, and it does get collected into the hopper. Second test is with a wall. It doesn't break, it just gets caught. And surprisingly, you can place a torch on a hopper. So if you do that, it immediately gets set into the hopper. So we have 2 viable solutions here. We have a slab or a torch. And I think a slab is much more likely to work. So if we just place a row of slabs like so, and then do this, simply, it just works. So we have ourselves the collection system. Now we just need to implement that into a sorting system, which luckily is relatively small, as we already have our input and we can send our output anywhere we want to. So here is where we can put our little sorting system, and we're not going to do that because now we have to work on the block removal system. So for the block removal system, we're just going to use green wool, and just like that, the block removal system has been implemented. All we need is to send power anytime a winner is declared. And how do we declare a winner? Well, it'll have to be eyeballed, because I don't think we can make a detection system with how much of this we have. Now, another thing I would like to do is I would like to measure how much sand or gravel is on either side. Now here's the thing, we can play Connect 4 on both of these sides. The thing is, it would just be very, very difficult. Because here's the thing, we need a block that pushes these blocks out of the way. And the way we implement that is literally like this. And then we just have to do that all the way around on both of these sides. And then we need to somehow connect each of those individually to one button. Easier said than done. Okay, so it's about 21 sand. Or gravel, rather. 22. Okay, it's about 22 sand and gravel on both sides. That's good. Alright, there we go. Now we have our pistons in place, and now we have all of that in place. Okay. Alright, the best way I know how to do this is by using a measuring system. Basically, what we need to do is we need to implement a simple encoder for each of the pistons back here. At this point is where I started overcomplicating things and started doing things with T flip-flops and then doing another T flip-flop with an AND gate with T flip-flops, and it just started becoming very, very complicated, so I did the only thing I knew how to do. Talk to an expert. Was that you? Hello?
Hello, yes, it's me.
What was I hearing?
Me?
That got me so off guard. Holy shit. Hang on, let me share stream real quick. You had me thinking I joined the wrong voice chat for a second. Anyway, this is obviously nowhere near finished as I'm still figuring things out, but the design basically consists of, I believe this is an 8x8 square, and you have sand and gravel on both these sides because that's the only blocks of gravity that we have at the moment. So we have sand and gravel, and what I'm trying to figure out is how when you push one of these buttons, sand and gravel will drop, but it alternates between the two every time you push a button. So that way, player 1 pushes a button, it drops the sand in the corresponding column, and then after it does that, it switches tracks, so it goes automatically to gravel, so that way player 2 can drop their thing, and so on and so forth.
That's actually a way simpler way of doing it. Yeah. Whether the resetting would be way more of a pain than just having it as a screen.
Actually, the resetting isn't that hard. You just have to manually place in the sand and gravel, because right
Exactly.
here is...
But if it were all digital, you could just press a button and everything would reset.
Yeah, the resetting process would be a lot simpler digital, but simply press this button, it drops the floor down, all the sand and gravel get dropped in here, put into a sorting system, and then you just walk up there and place in the sand and gravel that you need, and that's it. It's 22 sand and gravel, it doesn't actually take that long. So
22, shouldn't it be 64 of each?
I mean, if you like,
each row needs to have the potential of being filled all the way with just one of them.
I mean, yes, but
like 4, you don't need like 32 of each, because if there were...
That's about how big it should be, because, like, honestly, how long do you think it would go until you reach the limit?
Yeah, true.
Like, how many pieces do you have on a Connect 4 board for each
It's
player?
usually, it's usually 7 wide, 8 tall.
Oh, I didn't actually know that. I was talking about the man. The only thing that's coming to mind is the Spanish word, not the English word. Um, the little coin doodads.
Uh, let's call them the coins, sure.
Sorry, in Spanish we call them las fechas because it just refers to like the tile or like the game piece.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, but I don't remember the English word, which is surprising.
Probably call them a tile too, yeah, I think.
Yeah, so like if you count how many tiles it is per player, I assume it would be around this many because like it's literally 5 blocks by 8, so 5 times 8 would be
Yeah, no,
36.
you only need half the board per player, so if it's
Exactly, yeah.
if you were doing a 7 by 8 board, it would be halved to 28 each.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 8 by 8, not 7 by 8.
Okay, well, sorry, you made yours extra wide and special. Yeah, you only need 4 per player per column.
I like symmetry, okay? My symmetry won me over. So after talking to Gwen a bit, turns out using this method over behind me is much simpler than that method over there. I am going to still keep looking at this method and keep refining it so that way there is some block things going on. But I'm going to leave that for another time. Anyway, we're going to do this one instead. So basically what we're going to do is we have ourselves 2 different ways of powering. We have ourselves the bottom way, which does the plus, and then we have our top way, which does the circle. And in order to have both of these, and so that way one can only be active at a time, because if we activate both, it basically just lights them both up. We need an XL and SR latch to basically, when one activates, the other one turns off. When the other activates, the other one turns off and can't activate. That's essentially what we need to do. And this is the Connect 4 board. All we need to do is add some logical redstone to it and basically make it that. So Gwen has given me a tutorial by a YouTuber that I'm actually subscribed to and watch a lot of their videos of. Matt Bat Wings, linked in the description down below. So I will be following a tutorial, trying to see if there's anything, I'll be basically following a tutorial for this build. I couldn't figure this out, so we're gonna just build Connect 4. But as you can see from the design, it doesn't involve many comparators, so I guess we're back to the stair option. But yeah, I'll see you guys back whenever I'm done with this build, and I'll show you guys, and I'll do my best to explain how it works. And I'll also show you guys the new minigame district. Let's go! Okay, so in the best possible way I could possibly explain this, don't mind the hole. You know what? How about I patch this up real quick? Alright, anyway. So the best thing I could figure out about the tutorial is that this circuit right here is basically a rule setter. It's basically saying, hey, we have ourselves a couple of different states. We have ourselves a locked state to make sure nothing... We have ourselves an occupied state, an unoccupied state, a plus, and a minus state. Those are 4 states, and repeaters have on, off, locked, and unlocked, which are also 4 states. So if the repeater is unlocked and doesn't receive power, and is unpowered, then it's occupied and it's a circle. However, if the opposite applies, meaning it's unpowered, meaning if the repeater is unlocked but it's powered, then nothing's there. The repeater has to be locked in order for any value to be apparent on there. But if it's powered and unlocked... Sorry, if it's powered and then locked in a powered state, then we have ourselves a plus. So that lets this entire circuit know that there is an option there, that there is a thing there, that there's a thingy. We're gonna do circles and pluses. Player 1 is circles, player 2 is pluses. So we have both players, and then we have each of these cells that can be either occupied, unoccupied, circles, or pluses. Those are 4 different states. And we have the state generator here that tells the display what state it's in. Now, the display is only checking for 2 states. It's checking for plus or circles. So it's displaying a plus right now because of the state it's in. If we set it to another state, it goes as a circle because it's only checking for that state. Now, this itself is checking for 2 other states, locked and unlocked. Now, if it's locked, then that means it's occupied, meaning another cell cannot come back and join it. It's only able to do the 1. And that's the long and short of it. That's all it's able to do. It's only able to show 1. So when it's locked, the system checks that, and it puts it on the adjoining, not the adjoining, the adjacent? No, adjacent would be left and right. The topmost one. Because it'd be like, oh, this one's occupied, it can't hold another state, so we go to the next one. That's essentially what occupied and unoccupied is checking for whenever the repeater is locked or unlocked. So, yeah. Nice. We have ourselves a checker. And that is basically what green is. So, to mark all the circuits that we're doing in the order that we're doing them, I'm going to put yellow and green, just so that way you guys can know. Because here's the thing. I don't know much about redstone. This computational stuff is way beyond me. So, if you guys want to learn how this stuff works, I can explain it to the best of my ability, given what I'm looking at. And I'll also leave Matt Batwing's video in the description. And if you want to learn logical redstone, go check out the playlist Logical Redstone Reloaded. It is a very nice playlist. It's very good on informational redstone. But if you want to learn hands-on, I suggest copying this exact thing over and over again until you get it. And if you want to learn how to make the yellow segment, which is the display segment, first of all, what you want to do is you want to grab yourself a little cell, is what we're going to call it. We're going to call it a cell of 3x3. Now, this is not 3x3, this is a 5x5, but it's meant to encapsulate the 3x3. So if we put the 3x3 in here, then that is the 3x3 that we are powering. Now, let me real quickly show you guys how this entire section works. You're going to put 2 wool there, 2 wool there, and you're going to put 4 more wool there, then you're going to put redstone dust here, 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 and here, and here, and then you're going to put 3 repeaters like so with 0 tick delay, then you're going to put 2 more wool there, redstone dust on top, then you're going to place a wool there, there, and there, break the one in the middle, place a slab, go up a bit, place 1 wool there, and then place 1 back over here, and just like that, you have yourself 1 cell. Now, it is that simple to make a cell. And the reason why is because you don't want to do that because it's going to power both of them. So you need to elevate both the power cells by power inputs by 1, unless you're doing this, which is sending them directly. But basically, if you power the top line, you're going to get a circle because it's only powering the surrounding ones. And if you power the bottom one, you get a plus because it's only powering the center. And that is basically the long and short on how to make 1 single cell. Now, this little green segment is really self-explanatory. You need a comparator at the bottom connected to the comparator at the top and the subtraction zone, and then we need both inputs to come out of the same area here. Now, how are we getting power to both of them? Well, quite simple, really. Let me just disable that and activate some power. Whenever we activate power on the input side of the comparators, we have it going into a block, which is turning off the redstone torch on top, but turning on the redstone dust on the bottom. That is how we can tell on and off state for differences in which one we want over here. If we want to power the top one, like I said, it is going to be the circle, and if you want to power the bottom one, it's only going to be the plus. So the inverter right there is what's doing the this or this, power or unpower. That's all this is doing. And the subtraction over here is basically going to check it to be occupied. And if it is occupied, then it's going to display it. That's what we're checking over here. That's what all this is. That's all this is. So if it is occupied, all we need to do is send power to this other one, which signals occupied, so that way no more power gets received on this one. It'll be locked in that state forever. But we also need to tell these comparators to stop subtracting the power and actually sending it to the corresponding display cell. And the way we do that is we have the repeater that's getting input from a locking system onto another redstone torch, which is sending the power that this redstone torch is giving as well, and what this repeater is giving, because they're both giving a signal strength of 15, to the comparators on the subtracting side. So it's basically doing a 15 minus 15. Once we turn off this redstone torch, the 15 is no longer being subtracted, which means 15 goes forward and gets sent into the display. Now, what do I mean by 15? Power, basically. And if you want to know all about comparators and all that stuff, I don't have a video on my channel, but it's very self-explanatory. Comparators have two modes, subtract and add. When a comparator is in subtract mode, it takes the value from the left side and compares it to the back side, so that way it sends it out in the front side. That's all it does. A comparator without the subtract mode takes the redstone signal from the back, and sends it to the front. That's all normal comparators does. It compares what's in the back and sends it to the front without any sort of input. And it won't take any input from the sides. That's the only difference between subtract and add. And with that in mind, we can make it to where we don't send any sort of signal. We don't send any sort of signal unless one does the other. So this is basically an AND gate. If this is doing something and this is not doing something, then send power, basically. It's kind of complicated now that I say it out loud, but yeah, that's basically the long and short of it. Now that we have a comparing system, and now that we have a logical system here to display what we need when we need it, now we just need to do some smart redstone so that way we can just do the inputs on the other side. Because obviously, this is a game. We need to do that. So, yeah. I'm going to do one... Now, here's the thing. I'm going to do one of these cells complete with all the redstone that's necessary. And then we're going to build all the yellow, and then we're going to build all the green, and then we're going to build all the blue, and then the pink if needed. Now, I'm assuming now the pink is going to be all the inputs, the blue is going to be all the logical redstone, and then, what is it, light gray wool? All the light gray wool will basically be all the extra shit, so let's get to the video. The fuck was that? Fucking God. You actually scared me. I think it was your mic or when you joined, but I heard I heard that. I think that was your mouse clicking. Was that your mouse? You're fine.
Yeah, I think it's probably one of those.
Oh my God. I was in the zone. Oh my fucking God.
This looks like it's coming along well.
Yeah, I have one column of cells slowly coming together.
Nice. Does it work?
Yeah. So, I guess the briefly I mean, you know how this stuff works, right? I don't need to, like, explain how it works. Yeah, this section works fine, the displays work fine. I'm just building one column, and then I'm just gonna build a column at a time. I'm just kinda... Honestly, I feel like I'm just getting in my head about, like, oh man, this is gonna take a long time in survival. But, I'll do it in survival, because honestly, I want to make that minigame district.
For the test world, you don't need to build every column. I can see you started on the second one. You don't need to build all of them. Once you've got one working, you can skip doing the rest.
Really?
Yeah, well, just in the test world, because they're all the same and they don't overlap. apart from the reset button.
I mean, yeah. Okay, added all the segments of the blue, and it is finally looking... it's finally looking very technical. So when we push the button, we're only going to get O's because right now the variable is 0. But the gravity circuit does work, and honestly, just to show you guys from this perspective, look at that. Look at that. It's a little laggy because of the old version, but, oh, okay, well that's... I missed some redstone dust there. Okay, might as well just troubleshoot the system and make sure that all of it is working. Alright, there we go. All of that is working. And also, now, just because I don't want to go in and reset everything, now there's an actual reset column thing that I put right here. Not part of the redstone design and 100% probably going to be removed, but that is the reset redstone column, so... we don't actually need this bit, so I'm just going to remove it. But that's essentially all that. So now we have the light blue section and the dark blue section. Let's see what other sections we are going to be working on. Alright, the last bit we need to do is powering this side so that we know that it's X's turn. And I think the way we're going to do that is this pink wool right here. So let's do the pink wool segment, and then we should be able to do that. Now, obviously, we do have this section right here, so let's get that done. Now, the simplest way I know of to power and unpower these is with this, because it's like the cleanest way of doing so. But here's the thing. Let's say we have this one down here powered, right? We're gonna... Nope, hang on. We're going to... we're going to unpower it for now, but we put this there. Okay, well apparently this was a lot simpler than the way Matt did it. So what I ended up doing was literally just this right here, which is just a tower. So we have the reset, and that's basically it. Now, the reason I want it to be this way is because at the end of the day, the on and off circuit is going to be sent from down there. And all we really need to do now is build all this stuff, column by column. Okay, now we're back on the server, and I've explained everything. Now, let's head over to the new minigames district. So I will put up a map on screen right now of where exactly we are in regards to the world of the server. Now where we are is basically at the skeleton farm, and north of the skeleton farm has been selected as the minigames district. Now, not because it stands in the middle of the server, but because it's because of the amount of space we have. So let me go into F3 and start heading north. Alright, this is basically the area. The border is essentially not even this right here. It is even further down. So essentially, if you look at the map and you look at this little section that I'm at right here, this is basically right angle snow area. And if we keep going down that way, there's another snow area that's in a perfect straight line going in that direction. And that basically encompasses the line that sets the boundary down there. And if we keep going down that way, we'll eventually meet a small ice lake, semi-ice lake, I guess, because it's not fully frosted over, that creates that boundary. We also have ourselves a nice little area for an entrance just up there towards the green and starting desert area. And meanwhile, we have this entire desert, plains, and savanna biome free for use, essentially. This is a massive, massive area for games. So that for mini games, which means that we can create basically any games we want, whether they be Redstone, whether they be manual, whether they be literally anything at all. And this entire area has been marked for the minigame zone. As for where I want to put this minigame zone, I have no idea, because at the moment I have reached the top border, because we don't want it entering the snow area at all, because if the snow starts piling up in certain areas, that could break possible redstone projects. Unless we cover them up, obviously, but we don't want to make mob spawners, and we don't want creepers blowing things up, so we do also need to have them well lit. So over here is towards the beginning. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, here we go. So this is the beginning of the Frost Lake. And because of the massive area that we need in question for this Connect 4, what I'm thinking is we actually build it towards the line of where the snow thing is. So basically in the back end corner, which means we need to head east, that's west, towards that line barrier. Okay, I do have a lot of redstone blocks that I can convert back into redstone, and I do have a lot of repeaters, but that's probably going to be only enough for one cell, and I have nowhere near the amount of comparators, and I have, no, I don't have much quartz. Well, I do, but how much quartz is it for, the light block? I know we need glowstone as well. Oh, apparently the redstone lamps don't require quartz, they just require glowstone dust. So we can actually isolate the quartz for only being used for the comparators, which I think we're just gonna need a stack of at the very least, which in the grand scheme of things isn't much, but it is quite it is quite a lot. Surprisingly, quite a lot. So here's the thing. There's also another thing that has escaped my sight. I don't think that's how I'm using it correctly. Durability. At the moment, durability is a pain in the ass to manage. So if I were to go down mining, grabbing all the stone, and also go mining to grab all the quartz, I would probably lose all of my tools and have to keep getting diamonds and keep mining diamonds and then rinse and repeat because we don't have mending. So the Connect 4 project, even though I'm going to be working on it steadily with the materials I have and the materials I'm going to continuously work on, it actually won't be the sole focus of a video until we get mending, which isn't for a while, because we are getting an elytra soon, and that's what I mainly want to start working on the project. So I'll build the bare bones of the project first, so that way we have the scale and the look, but I won't build the redstone portions until we get elytra and mending, so that way gathering materials isn't so much of a pain in the ass. Sound fair? Great. It is time to focus on building, so let us go to the nether and actually work on my secret nether room, which is actually my secret nether staircase. Alright. Did some redstone, and this shall be the only video where it shall be mentioned. So, at the moment, my inventory is quite full, but if I place a lever here, pull it, does something, push the button, it opens this up. And look at this. We have ourselves a nice little conspicuous staircase that goes up, and we have ourselves another staircase that I need to build that also goes up. This is going to be where we break bedrock. Eventually, I will go up there, break some bedrock, and we will have a way up to the roof of the nether, so we can build farms and stuff. Now, this is going to be my way up there, because I like having secret tunnels and stuff for secret areas and such. That's just me. But as for the universal one, I'm going to have to ask Gwen if this one becomes universal or not. But regardless, I have done the redstone necessary to be satisfied with this update. So, you know, even though I won't actually show the redstone, as that section of the redstone is going to be top secret for a bit, and I actually want it to be a surprise for both the viewers and for Gwen. So the redstone for this update, for me, is officially 100% satisfactory and done. I will not be doing the Connect 4 for this update. I will be doing it when we get observers, because that way the delays between placing and doing stuff isn't that bad. Also, I think we just doubled our repeater count. Good thing that the system doesn't actually use pistons, though. Alright, there we go. Well, I did say we were going to do redstone in this update. I guess I just didn't expect to not do much on the server. But, yeah, I did the redstone for this update, so I am satisfied with this update. I will keep playing on this world and keep doing some small changes. Don't know what we're going to do next episode, but we'll figure it out.